I think she would have beat his ass the same as I did.
She should have.
The same as Fezco did. You feel me?
It's an honor to talk to you. You're my favorite character on season 1. My wife and I watched the whole season together because I was interviewing Zendaya for Malcolm and Marie, and I wanted to get associated with the show. And your character became my favorite. And then seeing the opening of season 2, it was like the greatest gift ever to get that backstory. One of my favorite things about your character is you basically can always find him on a couch smoking. Like no matter, like every scene, it's literally him and Rue or him and Lexi. Or I mean, generally speaking, you're on a couch at a party smoking in most scenes. Like, is that something that you and Sam discussed about? Like, this is what Fezco would be doing at a party, just chilling on a couch. Is that something you just talked about with Sam at all?
Nah. But it's funny that you point that out, though. That's real, you know what I'm saying? You have your back up against the wall, you feel me, smoking a blunt. So that's what it is, though.
And I've always wanted to ask you this, and I apologize if you've answered this before, but I don't know this. The name Fezco, is there a story behind the name? Because I've always wanted to know where the name came from. I know Fez and Fezco are the names that he's called, but like, is there a story as to why he's called Fezco?
I don't know. That's a good question, though. To be honest, I don't know.
I would love to know the answer to that. I wonder if Sam Levinson has a story behind that. Have you ever even questioned it to anybody?
I think so, but I don't know if nobody gave me an answer or if I just can't remember.
Yeah, well, I would love to know that answer at some point. One thing I want to tell you about your performance is that you have the brilliance of going from calm to explosive in a matter of seconds. And like that is like a really interesting character trait to have, because at one moment you could be the sweetest guy on the planet. The next moment you can take some dudes down, like obviously with Nate. I wanted to ask you about finding that tone. And in every scene that you're in, even when you're in that like soft moments, you can explode at any time. Like, do you have that in the back of your mind?
Yeah, man, kind of. I feel like he's always kind of on edge, you know what I'm saying? It's like stay ready so you ain't got to get ready type.
Obviously, the beginning with the grandmother, there's this moment, I think, where your character says, I don't know how grandma would have handled someone like Nate. So because we know that will never happen, how do you think your grandmother's, the character, would have handled Nate?
I think she would have beat his ass the same as I did.
She should have.
The same as Fezco did, you feel me?
That was awesome. You know, I know you posted this on your social media. I've been reading. I mean, I follow you on Instagram and Twitter. I just think you're such a phenomenal talent. And I know you posted the video of you bashing Jacob's head with the bottle. I wanted to know what that is exactly. Is it like breakaway glass? Like, what are you really hitting him with?
Yeah, I mean, they said that it's like made out of sugar and whatnot. So I don't know. I tasted it. It didn't taste like sugar. It's not candy, you feel me? But I guess it's made out of sugar or something.
I know you practiced that scene a few times, and if there's people online who will take that scene and they'll freeze it, and there's this moment right as you hit his face, your eyes are completely closed, because I'm assuming you're afraid of the glass hitting you. Is that a character choice that Fez closes his eyes there, or was that just you, or did it work out that it just kind of became the same thing?
Well, I think it's just like an instinct reaction, you know what I'm saying? I didn't consciously do that on purpose, so it's just kind of like instinctual thing.
Wow. And I was reading that you were punching air, obviously, for like 3 hours, but I was wondering, for the moments where you are connecting with Jacob's face, like how those were done. Like, were you just like, because obviously it's edited together in such an incredible way where it looks realistic, but when you're actually connecting, how does that work?
Well, there was no moments where besides the bottle, like I don't think I ever touched him.
Oh, wow. So those aren't your hands hitting him in the shots?
No, they just film it, you know. They just make it look real. I was inches away from really hitting him, but
wow.
No, I wasn't touching him.
This is a question I wanted to ask you, because I know you're a hip hop fan. I was reading an interview with you that you listen to a lot of the Bay Area hip hop. But in the first episode of season 2, we get 2 of the arguably the greatest rappers of all time. We get a Pac song and we get a Biggie track. And I feel like there's always been that question about whether you're a Pac or a Biggie guy. I'm a Biggie guy because Ready to Die is one of my favorite albums of all time, and Give Me the Loot, which is one of the greatest songs ever written. I was wondering, for you personally, are you more of a Biggie guy or a Pac guy, or do you kind of like them equally?
Shit, man, don't do me like that. I don't know. It's pretty equal, man. You know, but Pac has a lot more music to stand on. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's they both legends in my book.
Yeah, 100%. Do you know the song "Give Me the Loot" by Biggie on Ready to Die, where he does the two voices back and forth? It's so sick.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh
yeah.
man, first time I ever heard Kendrick Lamar, it kind of reminded me of those, like, you can play characters in your songs almost. At the remember the end of Kendrick's second record, he had that interview with Pac. It was so cool how they did that.
Right. Yeah, no doubt.
I know that Fez's scar on his head, that's actually a scar that you have in your real life, from what I understand. And I wanted to ask you, because that's a scar that you have in your own life, did you ever build in a story as to why Fez would have the scar? I know the grandmother hits him by mistake at the beginning of episode 1, but I'm assuming that scar wasn't caused by that. Have you built in a story for why he has that scar?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it was caused by that.
Okay.
About him getting hit in the head with a crowbar. That's pretty much what gave him his little scar, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But in season 1, did you ever like because the character had the scar and you didn't know that scene existed, did you ever like kind of think about, oh, I have this scar, but the character has it too?
To be honest with you, no, I didn't even think that deep into it. I was just rocking out with my scar, man. Yeah. I was like, I didn't think too deep into it like that.
Marcell Rev is a genius. As you behind me, I've had this hat for a while. I'm a big fan of 35 millimeter, and I love that he shoots on film.
Yeah, no, the filming and the way they shoot is just undeniably good. You know what I'm saying?
My favorite thing in the show is these like tracking shots that push into the characters. I'm wondering, as an actor, when that's happening, I know you have to wait for the camera to get to you for your emotional moment, whatever. But in terms of that, as you're sitting there watching the camera come towards you, I know you're in character, but what's that like to see that track coming towards you? It's got to be so cool, man.
Yeah, no, it's definitely super cool. Like, the way they set up all them shots, you know, you just kind of got to forget about the camera though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. But those Marcell's genius. That shot in episode 1 of season 2, when the lights are going out in between Hunter and Zendaya, where it's like going, that push pull is so cool. I read a story, I think it was in GQ, where you're talking about, I know you've talked about this before, about the character dying possibly in season 1. I think Jacob said to you at one point, wait, you didn't know that your character's brains get blown out in season 1. I know that that's an interesting thing to think about, because you hear that a lot in TV shows. Even in Breaking Bad, Aaron Paul's character was supposed to be killed off in season 1, and they liked his character and kept him going. I was just curious, like, you know, in terms of that, like, now that Jacob said that to you, and now that you know that, have you ever gone to Sam and asked him what the scene was? Are you curious to have read it just to see what it was?
I am curious, but I don't know. You know, that the show, I never asked him, no, to answer your question. I never asked him, but I think that in the show, the original, the Israeli Euphoria, you know, that this show was lightly based on.
Yeah.
I think that maybe the character of Fezco, or whatever their name is, I haven't, to be honest with you, I haven't watched it, but I think that character might die or something, you know what I'm saying? So it could have possibly came from that too. I don't know.
The beginning of episode 1 of season 2, we really kind of learned that Fezco had to grow up really fast at a young age. Like, he had to grow up super fast, become an adult basically at the age of 10. Even the grandmother's like, he's not a kid, he's my partner. And I wanted to ask you about that moment in your own life. Do you have a moment in your own life where you felt like you had to grow up faster than you were ready? I know you're only in your 20s, but do you remember a moment when you were younger where you're like, oh, I have to kind of grow up faster than I'm ready for?
I mean, no, I kind of just was, I really didn't, I mean, if I did do that, then I didn't think about it like as it was happening, you know, just naturally, just growing up, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't think into it like that.
I read somewhere the other day that your favorite movie of all time has Shia LaBeouf in it. What is that movie?
Holes.
Oh, I love Holes, man. Holes is so awesome. Didn't you go to a class and get taught by him?
Yeah, he was running some some like free class and out of like some out of some school or something. I went over there for a little bit.
Did you tell him about how much you liked holes?
No, I ain't talked to him. It was a
Okay.
lot. It was a lot of people in the class. They was all doing their thing. So I was just seeing what was going on.
You know, talking to you is interesting because like at the end of the day, you're playing somebody like it's a character. And to me, it's really hard what you have to do because while there may be similarities to yourself in terms of the way maybe the character speaks, you're still in the moment emotionally. And I think people need to understand how hard it is to play this character, even though it may be similar to you in just in like certain mannerisms or the vocal aspects of it. Like, can you talk about that? Because I feel like people don't really understand, even if it is similar, how hard it is to actually play these scenes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's even if you're similar to the character, whatever the case may be, you know, you still gotta you still on the spot, you know, you gotta act natural, and it's not that simple to just, you know, it's a whole different vibe, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of pressure and everything that comes with all that. So it changes it. So you know, it's still intense, you know, you gotta be in a whole different headspace, you know what I'm saying?
There's a line, I think it's in season 1, where Jacob or Nate's character says to you, aren't you her drug dealer? Because he's asking why you care so much about Rue. And like, to me, like that moment in season 2, when you go, that's my family, like that hits so freaking hard when you say that line. And one of the things that's brilliant about your character is everyone's stuck in a shitty situation, right? And I think, but at the same time, yes, you're the drug dealer, but you also care so much about the character. That push-pull is fascinating. As an actor, the audience then becomes a fan of you. We love your character. We love what you're doing, but at the same time, we know he's a drug dealer. So I find that interesting because it's a human being. It's a real person. Nobody's black and white. We're all layered individuals. Now, can you talk about that idea about like why we love this guy so much, even though everybody's in these shitty situations? It's just an interesting thing that we care so much about this guy because he has a good heart, you know? That's what I feel.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what it's about, you know, your morals and standards, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you said, it's not black and white, it's no bad and good, you know what I'm saying? I mean, good people sometimes gotta do bad things, you know what I'm saying? But that doesn't make them a bad person, you know. Sometimes you gotta steal, your family's starving, you gotta steal some food, you know what I'm saying? It's just what you gotta do. So that doesn't necessarily define you as a whole person, you know what I'm saying?
I know this is a question you've been asked a million times. I'm gonna try to find a different way to ask it because I know that you talked about the idea of walking in Manhattan and somebody just seeing you and casting you on the spot, basically. You said that moment you felt that it was a scam. So my question to you is, when did you think it was okay to give them your number? Like after you go, okay, this is a scam.
I didn't give him my number.
Oh, so what pushed you? What pushed it? How did it happen?
I got her number. I said, I'll take your number down. You feel me?
And then you called,
I called her like the next day.
What made you make that phone call at the next day?
Because I wasn't doing nothing. So I was like, all right, let's see what she was actually talking about. Because at the end of the conversation, I was like, all right, you know what I'm saying? It seems like you know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. All right, a couple more questions for you, then I'll let you go. The Scarface poster in the house is awesome. I was wondering, for you growing up, what posters were on your wall as a kid? Did you have music posters, movie posters? What did you have on your wall?
I think I had like some like skateboarding stuff, maybe some like Playboy shit. You know what I'm saying?
Which is really funny considering I know that line I believe was improvised that you said I think in the GQ interview about 575 Playboy. So I was wondering, when you say Playboy to him again before you smash the bottle, did they add that line in knowing that was like a callback to that improvised line, or did you improvise that one?
I think that I threw that in there too. I'm pretty sure. I was like, you know what, this makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome. You and Lexi are a relationship that I'm hoping happens. And there's that moment where she looks at you as you get up and you take your shirt off, and like, this is the moment when you're about to explode on Nate. And she seems scared, but I also think at the end of the day, we also thought Nate deserved it and had it coming. That's going to be a really interesting push-pull. Can you talk about like what fans can expect from the Lexi Fezco relationship?
Yeah, I mean, you just you get to see Fezco really open up a little bit and show his soft side a little bit more. So that's really cool. But yeah, you know, so that's gonna be cute or whatever.
I want to say thank you so much for your time. That you are brilliant in this show. I really mean it, and I hope you one day you find out what the Fezco name means. I really want to know what the name means. So I hope you're staying safe,
I'll
man.
try to figure out for you, man.
All right, thanks a lot, Angus. I hope you're staying safe.
All right, boss.
Be safe.
Stay up.
See you, buddy.
Peace.